Well, hello, friends. It's an honor and privilege to be with Kim Hassenfeld today from the Counseling Center of the North Shore. Kim has been the clinical director of that organization for the last 6.5 years, and they are one of our mission partners here at First Pres Wilmette. And it's a delight to be talking with her today, hearing a bit more about their mission and ministry, but also specifically focusing on a topic that's near and dear to all of our hearts, which is self-care during the holidays. However, we celebrate whatever we celebrate as Christians, we certainly have our particular traditions, but each of our families has, very idiosyncratic traditions that we celebrate. And this time of year is really good and also can be really hard. So, Kim, so glad to have you with us.
Thank you. It's really good to be here, Jeff. And
Yeah. So why don't you start by just telling us a bit more about your organization, what you do, and I know you started somewhat before the pandemic. It's been a wild ride for us all, but yeah, tell us a bit
yes,
more about what you do.
so I'm the clinical director, and our counseling center, the Counseling Center of the North Shore, we're located in Winnetka in Hubbard Woods, and we're actually tucked right behind the Winnetka thrift shop. We're a not-for-profit, and we own and operate the thrift shop, and all the proceeds go to our center, so that we can offer high quality and affordable therapy.
Mhm.
And so we offer therapy across the lifespan. So we see children, adolescents, and adults, and couples and families. Um, People come to us in all kinds of for all kinds of things. If they're experiencing anxiety, depression, um, uh, postpartum depression, experiencing loss of any kind, uh, financial crisis, and we take all kinds of insurance, but we also offer a very generous sliding scale.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons that we are so grateful to be a partner, um, to your church, and also that we have other donors, and we have our thrift shop that we can be able to offer um, um, that service. And so we have 8 therapists, and we have 4 advanced clinical interns, and our therapy is focused on therapies of depth, insight, and relationship. So we take the relationship client's first experience coming in very seriously. We know that it takes a lot of courage to come to therapy.
Yeah.
Um, and so we know that it takes time to build trust. And so any kind of change or growth or even symptom relief, you really have to feel safe.
Yeah.
So that's sort of our mission, and that's what we do.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Thank you for your work of caring for souls and helping people be, their best selves, even in a very stressful time.
Yeah.
Um, So I'd love to turn to the topic. You kindly proposed this to me, Kim, at a mission fair our church hosted in late September.
Yeah.
As
Right.
we got closer to the holiday season, and we met with your colleague, I think, as well, here in my office. We talked about this topic of self-care for the holidays.
Right.
How, as is it Andy Williams who sings, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but obviously that's a cliche and that's rarely true. At least fully. So tell us a bit
Yeah.
more about this topic. I know you've taught on it before, but we thought about doing an in-person gathering, but figured it'd be easier this year to just hop
To
on
do it
Zoom
this way.
together.
Yep.
But tell us a bit more about how
Yeah.
to practice self-care.
Everybody's always busy this time of year. It is a wonderful time, but it's also a very stressful time for a lot of people. And it's also often both, right? You're
Mhm.
very excited to see your friends and connect with family. It's also a time where you get a break from time off, and I mean, you get some time off from work. Um, but one of the reasons it can be so stressful is actually because you have a time off from your normal routine. Routines are something that people say, like, oh, routines, why are routines important? Routines are important because they actually cut down our stress level.
Mm,
They cut down on our decision making, and decision making, even if it's between, do I want you know, the veal, not the veal, but like the steak or the salmon, like something delicious,
mm,
still there's a level of stress when you have to decide,
mm,
even good decisions, I mean. Um, so when you're out of your routine, your normal routine, when you're traveling, when you're planning events, when you're, you know, um, not sleeping in your own bed, like
mm,
that is stressful.
mhm.
Um, and it tends to get more stressful as you age, I
Yes.
will say,
Mhm.
from my own personal experience.
Yes, yes,
Um,
I do.
so that's one reason the holidays are stressful. Another reason is for a lot of people, it can shine a light on who's not present, as time goes on, and
Mhm.
if there are anniversaries around the holidays, it can be a painful time. Um, Especially made painful when everybody else is, there's this sort of commercialism of cheer, good cheer
Mhm.
and holiday cheer, and you're
Mhm.
hearing all of this, everyone's saying happy holidays, and then you're feeling sad.
Yeah.
That contrast
Mm.
can actually amplify your feelings of loneliness and isolation. Um, so the other thing is it can, wonderful to bring family members together. Also, sometimes family members have difficult relationships. So, at
Yeah.
the same time that you might really be looking forward to seeing everyone, it can also be a difficult time. Old problems can stir back up again, and you might anticipate this, and so that might also be stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and then
Yeah.
there's finances.
Yes. Yes.
You
Finances.
know, if
Hmm.
you're already stretched and then the holidays are coming up, well, you want to be able to celebrate, you
Right.
want to give gifts, you want to invite people over. You might feel quite ashamed if you can't reciprocate if somebody gives you a
Mhm.
gift, for example.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there's so much built-in expectation. My wife and I were talking the other day about Thanksgiving and how, as much as that's very much a holiday, American-ish, right? It also doesn't have the added you know, challenge of the gift giving. It
for
does
sure.
feel like a holiday more focused on this is about gathering, remembering, giving thanks, having some food. Of course, there are some
Yeah,
expectations, but at least in the
right.
Christian tradition, when we think about Christmas, I know you have, a multi-faith household yourself, so maybe
Right.
that adds even more expectations. But Christmas is just a whole different animal. And
It's
as
a
a
whole,
pastor, my wife is also a pastor. There's some other pieces there too, where you're kind of helping our
sure.
people hold the story that we know so well, and yet that continues to break in with its light and life and love. Um, so there's some
Yeah,
added religious dimensions, I think, too. But
for
yeah, tell me
sure.
more about how you experience it, in your own household.
Well, yeah, we definitely, I grew up in the Jewish faith and my husband Lutheran.
Mhm.
And so we have combined things, and we try to make the gift giving part fun. And we have one daughter,
Mhm.
as she's grown, like that's kind of receded a little bit into
Yep,
the
yep,
background, which
yep.
is great.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
Hanukkah, we would do like one little gift per night, and it was kind
Hmm.
of like the lead up. And sometimes, it would overlap with Christmas. I mean, the
Hmm.
calendar, was such that you didn't know when it was going to fall.
Yeah.
Um, but it was also, which family are we going to be with when? Because
Mhm.
our families don't
Mhm.
live here.
Right.
So I know that for a lot of people, also travel is a big part of the
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah.
Um, Not
Mhm.
only that, but whose family? There's also, then when you have children that are married, and then who are they going to be spending holidays with? I know that I'm a therapist as well as the clinical director, and I have clients who can feel very hurt when their children are spending Christmas with their in-laws, or who, and it feels very they can end up feeling quite lonely if it's their off year, depending on who else is around. Being alone on the holidays or feeling
Yeah.
lonely,
Yeah.
that is a
Mhm.
that is a real reality for some
Mhm.
people, where
Mhm.
either because of loss or because
Mhm.
of situation or
Mhm.
geography,
Mhm.
they're not
Yeah.
with the people that they want to be with.
Right. Right. Yeah, it makes
Yeah,
me think of what you said regarding who's not there. I mean, it might be a
who's
loved
not
one
there?
who's died, or it might be a loved one who, for whatever reason, due to illness or an in-law situation, that can't be there for other reasons, or
Right.
due to sometimes a break in a relationship where it isn't
Cut off.
practical to be
Yeah,
together. Yeah, there's
so
so much
much.
to hold.
So much. And
Um,
then there's also we were sort of hinting at um the like sort of the commercialization,
mm,
the songs,
mm,
the movies, the
mm,
idealizing of what the holidays with family or celebrations are supposed to be
mm,
like,
mm,
look like, feel like, especially Christmas. It's not a lot of Hanukkah
yeah.
expectations, so you don't see
Mhm.
that, which is
Mhm.
nice.
Yes. Yeah,
But
I think you have it wiser from the
yeah,
cultural
yeah.
level.
But
Yeah.
when you have that, you grow up with that.
Mhm.
I was telling Jeff about an exercise where you close your eyes and sort of say you're going to be like
Oh, yeah.
hosting an event, a
Mhm.
Christmas
Mhm.
gathering, a party, or your children and
Mhm.
your grandchildren for Christmas. You're okay. So I have a client who's she's in her 70s, early 70s. Her husband passed away about 4 years ago, and she has three children. Two are married and have children of their own. So she's hosting them for Christmas this year.
Mhm.
And she, in the fall, said to me, "I am dreading this. I have so
Mhm.
much anxiety." And she
Mhm.
feels guilty for dreading it. And I said, "Okay, let's unpack this. First of all, we did this exercise. Close your eyes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Picture what you want, what you think this should look like. What is it that your expectations are telling you? Of what this is supposed to, visualize it."
Yeah.
And so she was, and if you can describe it to me, and she was describing like a beautiful tree
Mhm.
and, loads of presents. And she comes out with this gorgeous turkey, and they're all sitting around this table, and everybody has a smile on their face. She's
Mhm.
basically like a Norman Rockwell type
Yes,
looking
yes.
thing, right? I
Mhm.
said, okay, 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 now let's close your eyes now. Picture each of your children
Mhm.
and picture them arriving at the airport with their kids, and then coming through however they arrive,
Mhm.
coming through the door, what they say to you, how they, just everything about them, right? And then she sort of described that,
Mhm.
and and I said, okay, now
Mhm.
what's the difference between these two pictures?
Yes,
And she was like, yeah, I
yes,
think I have
yes.
unrealistic expectations of myself
Mhm.
to create this magical experience.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I said, yeah, that's what you're going to do. We got to prioritize what is important
Mhm.
about this event.
Mhm.
What is it that you want to get out of
Mhm.
this? And what is it that you want your children
Yeah.
and your grandchildren
Mhm.
to know and experience? Like, really know more
Mhm.
than anything.
Mhm.
And she said she wanted them to know that she loves them,
Mhm.
that she will be there for them, and that they have a place to go.
Wow. Wow.
And
Mm.
I said, those are beautiful and powerful, and don't involve a perfect turkey
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
or
Or
a
piles of presents or
beautiful
mhm.
tablescape
Mhm.
or an absolutely gorgeous 8-foot tree that's, matching,
Right. Yeah.
so we were able to like really hone in on like what is really important about this to
Mhm.
you. And what if people don't behave perfect? What if not everyone's smiling the entire time? Would
Right.
that be okay?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And would it be okay if not everything is absolutely perfect?
Mhm. Hmm.
And how can she conserve her energy?
Yeah.
Because she's
Yeah.
in her early 70s, and
Hmm. Hmm.
would her children be able to pitch in,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's when, yeah, because she was sort of, okay, so not to get in too much
Hmm.
detail, but
Hmm.
what we processed too was that she was trying to, by taking over everything, she took
Hmm.
responsibility for, she was going to make it all perfect.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, she was trying to avoid some really bad memories she had as a
Hmm.
child.
Yeah.
Christmases past, ghosts from Christmases past.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
where Christmas involved a lot of fighting.
Hmm.
There was a lot of financial strain in her family when she was growing up. Not a very, they had uh, not a high income and a lot of children,
Hmm.
and so there was a lot of tension
Hmm.
between mom and dad,
Hmm.
and there was a lot of fighting, and she felt um, that she didn't want that. She didn't
Hmm.
want it wasn't good. Wasn't
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
experience for her. So she
Yeah.
was going to try to make it better.
Hmm.
And I said, well, I think the way that you would make it better is actually to try to please yourself, but also to allow your children to help you
Hmm.
if they can and they want to, in terms of helping out with things, and sort of acknowledging that that's part of your
Yeah.
history to
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate the specificity of your client's story as a way to anticipate and then try to implement, um, the things she's learning in therapy and the good work you're doing with her. In terms of more general suggestions, observations, as we think about self-care for the holidays, all different generations who attend our church, at least four
Yeah.
generations, different family situations, maybe somewhat similar to your client, someone in the third of life, or someone in the early parts of life or middle parts of life with all
Yeah.
sorts of family situations. How would you help us? What would you tell us? Here's how you do it. Here's how you engage in self-care during the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. The first thing would be, yeah, that anticipating um the events,
Mhm.
to try to sit down and kind of um, if you're feeling a lot of anxiety, like you're feeling overwhelmed about how much is going to, if you're feeling overwhelmed, to try to do an inventory internally, and that means below the anxiety, what are the feelings? Like what is underneath that anxiety and overwhelm? Um, and and if you can't name the feelings, that's okay, but maybe
Mhm.
name, like, just list all the things that you think you have to do.
Yeah,
And then if you look at those things, start to think about why.
yeah, yeah.
Why? What's the purpose of all these things? Um, because I guess the idea would be to hone it down to what is essential, and essential not to please this person or not offend this person, but what you think is most important. Like, so say it's a parent of young children, you're young parents, you've, you know, kind of new to the area, you've lived here a couple of years maybe, and you have young children, and you want them to have a great Christmas experience, but you're not very connected yourself to a community yet, and you kind of want to, so you want to have time, adult time to connect.
Mhm.
You want, um, you do have to take this trip to visit parents with your kids. Um, you're trying to balance a lot of things. Well, to do that, maybe think about, like, what's most important. Well, it is very important to you that your kids see their grandparents on Christmas.
Mhm.
Okay, if and you want to see them too, it's the
Yeah.
number one priority. Okay, how long? you know,
Yep.
and then you do want to have some time here to connect into it. Okay. And, you know, it's a matter of there are going to be some things you'll have to, you know, sort of give up,
Mhm.
but keeping sort of an idea of there's more time to come, there are more Christmases to come, and what's going to make it the most pleasurable for you and meaningful,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
without thinking that you need to do it all right now, because that's our sort of feeling of like, oh, I have to do it all right now,
Right, right.
all the time.
Mhm.
The other thing is in the moment when you're having those gatherings, you know, it can get overwhelming in the moment,
Yeah.
whether you're hosting or not, whether you're just participating, you're at someone's house. If you feel overwhelmed, um, a really good way to bring yourself back if you start getting anxious or in your head about worrying about either the next thing you have to do or why did I say that to my uncle or whatever it
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
whatever stress, to be able to step away, even momentarily, and to get out of your head. It's really good to get in touch back into your body, and the
Mhm.
best way is through your five senses.
Yeah.
So whether that's just going into ducking into the bathroom and splashing some cold water on your face, stepping outside for a moment into the cold just to get a different temperature going and, you know,
Mhm.
feeling, taking some deep breaths,
Mhm.
um, uh, smelling some lotion, some very strong scent that
Mhm.
you like. um, I have a little bottle of um, eucalyptus.
Mhm.
Really good. I like that smell anyway. It's
Yeah.
very strong, and
Yeah.
if I smell that, I'm
Uh,
suddenly like, woo, you know,
yes.
it's
Yes,
like
it can sort of ground you and transport you
it
for a moment.
grounds you, yeah.
Mhm.
And the whole
Mhm.
idea is it gets you out of your mind
Right.
and back into your body, into your
Mhm.
senses, which takes you to the present moment.
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
not in the past, you're not worrying about
Mhm.
what just happened,
Mhm.
and you're not worrying about what is about to happen. You're right where you are.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that is where that can sort of reground you, sort of reset things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and then I'll share this one trick that's
Yes.
helpful. It's called five. Many people probably have heard of it by now, but it's 5 4 3 2 1.
Mhm.
And that's see if I can remember it offhand. So it's and it's about your senses. So it's
Sure.
an exercise you can
Mhm.
do, and actually, I think you can kind of do it on the sly. I mean, you don't have to step away to do it necessarily, but it's so you're feeling overwhelmed. So you start with five things that you can see.
Mhm.
To in your head, you can name
Yeah.
five things that you see.
Right.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um, four things that you hear.
Mhm.
Is it four things that you hear? I
Mhm.
think so.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that can be things you hear that are nearby, far away, in the distance, a car going by,
Mhm.
you know, the clicking of a pen, the music, somebody talking. um, three things you can feel, and that doesn't mean or touch. And that
Mhm.
doesn't mean you go around touching things, but that you can feel your hair on your neck. You can
Mhm.
feel your toes in your shoe, that kind of feel.
Mhm.
Um, uh, two things that you can wait, two things that you can.
Taste. Did you say taste yet?
I didn't say taste yet, so
Yeah. Yeah.
five. See, hear, touch. Oh, smell. Two things that
Smell.
you can
Smell.
smell,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and one thing that you can taste.
Very good.
So, and taste is usually like the mint I'm,
Yes.
or
Yes.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
what I just ate. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
and smell whatever you smell. You can smell,
Mm-hmm.
my own breath. Smell
Mm-hmm.
the food that's cooking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that just brings you back to the present moment
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm reminded, Kim, of something our faith traditions share. Jesus is talking about the two greatest commandments as he understands it, the Shema, from Deuteronomy 6, about love the Lord your God with your whole being. But then he also adds a second from Leviticus 19, love your neighbor as yourself. I'm reminded how often we forget to emphasize the second part of that command to love your neighbor as yourself, in the sense that, I mean, I wonder if it's both descriptive and prescriptive when Jesus says
Oh,
it, that it's both
yeah, that you should.
commanding us, right? You
Oh,
you should do this, but also
yeah,
you only actually can love your neighbor as well as you love yourself. And we're the only ones who can love ourselves, right? And at least in my tradition, growing up in a more conservative evangelical tradition, like loving yourself was sort of verboten. You don't really, that's too indulgent. That's too
right,
selfish. But as I've gotten a little older and transitioned into a much maybe different form of Christianity, I see actually the wisdom of loving yourself, in a healthy way. We're not talking about Netflix binging and Ben and Jerry's on the couch every night, for hours and hours, but, finding space. There's self-comfort, but there's self-care. As you're saying it, what really helps me care for myself? Good sleep, good
right,
nutrition, connection with others,
right,
good
right,
expectations, all these things. So I'm just so struck by, as we prepare for the holidays and whatever our families or faith traditions invite us into, um, only we can care for ourselves as we seek to care for others and celebrate with them.
right.
Um,
Taking space, right. I think of self-care. I know that self-care is used a lot as like, take a bubble bath and blah, blah,
yes.
blah.
Yeah.
I'm a therapist, so I think of self-care as self-awareness. Like when you're
Ah.
aware of
Mm,
what's going on,
mm,
when you're mindful of what's going on internally, then you can take
mm.
care of yourself and say, what
Yes.
do I need right now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that, like what you were saying, like that might feel self-indulgent in some ways, but
Mhm.
if you're taking care of what you need,
Mhm.
then you're able to take care of other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caregivers who can't be caregivers unless they're taking good care of
Yeah.
themselves.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful reminder. Um, and I so appreciate this time, Kim, to hop on Zoom and glean some of your wisdom on practicing self-care for the holidays. So just to summarize, at least for my takeaways, I mean, you talked a little bit about your own experience and the different aspects of self-care when it comes to financial strain or the expectations we have or the losses we might experience. But I guess I'm really holding your invitation in terms of how you do it, of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice, and
Yeah.
really noticing, what do I need in this moment and how can I be my best self as I celebrate these holidays with family and with friends.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And it's really okay to to step away when you need to take
yeah.
time.
Mhm.
And that moment, that joy
Mm.
is something, feelings are something that kind of come and go. We
Mm.
don't get to sort of,
Mm.
choose them.
Right.
But
Right.
I hope that all of you get to experience real moments of joy
Yeah.
amidst whatever else comes up for you.
Yes. Yes.
And that will be your,
Mm.
your gift, is that you get to
Mhm.
have connection and joy
Mhm.
this holiday season.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, that's a perfect place to end, Kim. We so
Yeah.
appreciate your time and willingness to hop on Zoom and do this interview. And let's do this again.
Okay. Thanks very much, Jeff. I
Peace
appreciate
to
it.
you and very happy holidays to
You
you.
too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, Kim.